She walked into the first-class cabin with confidence, her heels clicking softly against the polished floor. All eyes seemed to linger, not in admiration, but in judgment. She was the CEO of a rising airline, a black woman who had built her company from scratch, but nobody on this flight knew that yet. And then it happened. A white passenger reached over, snatched her reserved seat, and claimed it as her own. Shock froze the cabin, passengers whispering, some avoiding eye contact, others staring openly. For a moment she wondered, was this a simple mistake? Or was there something more sinister lurking beneath polite smiles? Her chest tightened, heartbeat pounding as she realized she couldn't just shrug it off. How far would someone go to undermine her success because of the color of her skin? And what would she do next, in a room full of strangers who were all silently watching? Wait a second. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. It had taken years of relentless work, sleepless nights and countless sacrifices. But she had done it, built an airline from the ground up. She remembered pitching to investors in small, cramped offices, facing skeptical faces that seemed to say, "You don't belong here." Yet she had persevered. Today, she was on her way to meet a major partner, a flight that would secure a contract to expand her airline nationwide. She had prepared meticulously, every slide, every statistic, every strategy rehearsed until it felt like second nature. Success was supposed to feel triumphant, but as she approached the gate, a familiar knot of anxiety tightened in her stomach. Air travel had never been her sanctuary. She had always been aware of the subtle glances, the quiet assumptions, the unspoken questions about whether she fit. Now, sitting in first class, she thought the journey might be easier, until a seemingly trivial incident reminded her that nothing in this world was simple. Her reserved seat, her rightful place, was suddenly a battlefield, and all eyes were on her. The woman across from her, dressed in crisp business attire, extended a hand casually, not to greet, but to claim. "I think this is my seat," she said, her tone polite yet cold. Shock rippled through the cabin. The flight attendants hesitated, unsure of what to do, caught between protocol and discomfort. Passengers shifted uncomfortably, some recording quietly on their phones. She felt the familiar sting of being doubted, dismissed, and assumed to be inferior, simply because of her skin. She opened her mouth, ready to assert herself. But the words felt heavy, weighed down by the anticipation of confrontation. Memories flashed. Boardrooms where her ideas were ignored, dinners where doors seemed subtly closed, conversations cut short by polite disbelief in her authority. Every microaggression converged in this moment, a test of courage and composure. She stood tall, meeting the woman's gaze, and calmly stated, "I built this airline. This is my seat." The cabin fell silent. Whispers and gasps ricocheted off the walls. The woman's confident mask faltered, her hand hesitating mid-air. The flight attendants exchanged glances, uncertain how to proceed. For a moment, the situation teetered on the edge of chaos, passengers holding their breath, waiting to see whether the truth would stand or be smothered by privilege and assumption. Then came the subtle resistance, a passenger muttering, "Are you sure?" Another casting a side-eye glance. It was more than just a seat. It was a test of power, of authority, of who could claim space in a world predisposed to deny her worth. Each second stretched unbearably, every heartbeat echoing the years she had spent fighting for recognition. The tension built, a crescendo that refused to release until her truth demanded acknowledgement. Finally, the woman's hand fell, her eyes wide with disbelief. She had not expected the claim of ownership to carry weight, had not anticipated that authority, born from years of toil and resilience, could be declared with calm certainty. The flight attendants, now aware, nodded in recognition, guiding her back to her rightful seat. Passengers leaned forward, curiosity mingling with awe, as they witnessed a confrontation they would later recount as the moment she took her place. It was more than a seat. It was a declaration of identity, achievement, and dignity. The CEO felt a surge of vindication, but also exhaustion. The fight was not over. Subtle prejudices would linger, whispers would continue, and doubt would remain in some eyes. Yet in that moment, the system, the microcosm of society, had bent, however briefly, to justice. She sank into her seat, heart pounding, breaths shallow, yet steady. For the first time in hours, she allowed herself a quiet smile. She had faced the indignity and the prejudice and had not wavered. And in doing so, she had reminded everyone on that plane that authority is not given. It is claimed, and nothing could erase the work that had brought her here. The flight continued, hum of engines beneath them, but the atmosphere had shifted. Passengers exchanged glances, whispers giving way to contemplative silence. She reflected on the incident, not as an isolated injustice, but as a snapshot of a much larger reality. Racism was rarely overt. More often it was subtle, systemic, embedded in assumptions, gestures, and small acts meant to undermine confidence and claim space. She had confronted one of its faces and emerged intact, stronger, resolute. Her story was not just her own. It echoed in boardrooms, classrooms, streets, and flights worldwide, an invisible barrier facing countless others every day. By standing firm, she had sent a message. Authority, competence, and brilliance are not defined by skin color. As the plane touched down, she glanced around the cabin. Some eyes still curious, some apologetic, some inspired. She wondered, how many more moments like this went unnoticed, unchallenged? How many others would gather courage from seeing someone rise above, reclaim what was theirs? Her victory was a small but potent spark. The question lingered. How long until society stops snatching seats and begins recognizing what people truly build? Where are you watching from? She thought. Every city, every country had a story like hers waiting to be told. Take care.